What's up? It's Dustin and Scott from Solozo, and today we're going to talk about should you implement Amazon's campaign suggestions. So as sellers, we get these emails from Amazon offering us suggestions for our campaigns. You know, things like you should turn on dynamic up down for your campaigns, or here's suggested bids that we recommend. There's all these emails that we get, and we're just going to address, is it a good policy to adapt these when you get these or not? So Scott, you've got a lot of experience with this. You're one of our account managers. You're working with tons of accounts, and you see these emails all the time. So what is your take on these Amazon campaign suggestions?
Yeah, I would say for the most part, hold off and don't implement those suggestions unless you're really sure you know what's going to happen with them. Because the majority of the time, they're not necessarily they can be bad for your account, because you have to think it from Amazon's perspective. For the most part, they're trying to get sellers to spend more money on their platform. And certain things like dynamic bid up down that will suggest that quite a bit. But what happens in that situation is, the return on advertising spend goes down, our ACoS percentage goes up a lot of the times. So implementing suggestions like those aren't necessarily good for the account. I've seen other situations to where, a lot of category match types are also suggested. And when people implement those, a lot of spend happens very quickly on their account. So you just have to be very, very careful before you implement, any of those strategies. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Dustin?
Yeah, well, I mean, Amazon's making recommendations to get your ads shown. So, I mean, that's my thinking, is that when they're showing you a recommendation, they're saying, how can you make your ad more visible? Well, that can be counter to optimizing your ads.
Right.
And those things like dynamic up down can conflict with an optimizer like Solozo's. We could be trying to optimize, and you're getting 900% more on your bid than what the optimizers are setting it at. So there can be some conflict there. But for some cases, if your goal is massive visibility and you're not really concerned about your ACoS, you're in launch phase, then testing some of these things out might not be necessarily bad. Like category match can show you in places that you weren't showing before. Dynamic up down obviously will get you higher in the search. But when you're trying to optimize, that's counterintuitive to what you're trying to do. You're trying to find the right bid on each target, each keyword to optimize towards whatever your ACoS goal is. And a lot of these recommendations are just not going to get that for you. They're just going to show your ad everywhere, and you're going to be like, what is going on with my ad spend?
Right. Yeah. It's, and they do send very good keyword suggestions sometimes. Like they'll send a list of suggestions, and I'm like, well, yeah, these are pretty good keyword suggestions we can go ahead and go after. But yeah, you're 100% right. All of the time, like dynamic bid up down, that really hurts more than it does helps when we implement those suggestions on the campaigns.
Yep, absolutely. So take these Amazon campaign suggestions with a grain of salt if you get them. Just know that Amazon's they're giving you information that's trying to get your ad to show more. But if you're trying to optimize to get your ad to show in the right places at the right bid, this may work contrary to your strategy. So take them with a grain of salt. If you've got questions about them, you can always reach out to Solozo's team. Great people like Scott can help answer these questions for you to tell you if it's a good idea or not. So that's utilizing Amazon's campaign suggestions.
Thanks, Dustin.